Hello, welcome to Krafting Kitty. My name is Erin, and it is Saturday, so it is time for my weekly roundup. Yeah! So, what is my weekly roundup? Well, it is basically where I go through my week in crafting, and we usually talk about the book I'm reading too, which I've got some fun news and some ideas maybe for you in the book reading department. Talk about that at the end, yarny stuff up front. So, crafting wise, we talk about any whips, works in progress, or FOs I have on the week. And let me tell you, this week was hat-rific. I went a little crazy with the hats, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and just hop right in. We will start with the finished objects, the FOs. So I finished this, which is another, this is the other yarn Brian picked out. I don't have the label. Picked out for me to make his hats from. And he wanted the Bod's chocolate bonbon beanie. But he picked out a 4-weight and a 5-weight yarn. And I was like, well, honey, there just happens to be 2 different patterns. So this is the 5-weight chocolate bonbon beanie pattern. And there you go. She just had to make a couple of alterations to make it fit a chunky. So it's pretty much the same as the regular chocolate bonbon beaning, but not quite. So there, he is now excited to have a second hat completed. I used Malabrigo Mecca on that one, and it was a one-of-a-kind colorway. But there you go. So, second hat I completed is the original chocolate bonbon beanie. And this one I did because Laura at Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming does Bod Hatapalooza. And I always see it and I think I'm going to try to do it. So I'm going to this year try to make a more concerted effort to participate with Laura. Because it's fun. I mean, it's a hat a week. And then I can either donate them to, my LYS always has a hat drive, or I can find somewhere to donate all of the excess hats, because let's be honest, I'm going to be drowning in hats soon. But this hat, I used Natural Marl from Loops and Threads, and the colorway is Sunset. So pretty. It's been sitting on my shelf, begging to be made into a hat, and here it is. It is beautiful. This is beautiful. So it's funny, is every time I'm making a hat, Bingo comes up and says, for me? No, Mommy is keeping this one because I can't get over how beautiful this color is. Like, Michaels, I know you got rid of this a while ago, and this is essentially, I mean, it's just like the Karen Blossom cakes, if you can see how it's chain spun with the fuzzies on the outside. So it's chain spun and then blown. Why do you take the pretty yarns? Although the Blossom cakes are cotton, and I think this one has wool. 9% wool. 69% polyester, 22 acrylic, 9% wool. Not that much wool. Okay, so then, what else did I do? Well, if you saw my video last week, I got some of the new carousel yarn from Joann's, and I wanted to whip one up on the Addi to see how it turned out. And here it is. It is beautiful. It is very nice. I would say this yarn is just like a thinner puzzle yarn. Puzzle is a 5-weight. This is a 4-weight. I was a little concerned with the fuzzies that my Addi wouldn't quite like it, but my Addi did just fine. So there we go. This is an entire tube just cranked out. I got 126 rows out of my, according to my row counter. So there you go. Just cinched it up so it's a double-sided beanie. Beautiful! That colorway is berry, if you are wondering. Then, I wanted to do more practice on my Addi. So, I've been going through for oddball skeins in my stash. And I found this beautiful color. And I believe this was a Mystery Karen Simply Soft. And I used the entire thing, and it made these two hats. So this is kind of the child size hat. And then we have an adult hat. And this was actually pretty long. I think I went for 135 rows on this one. I think for an adult size hat, so for a kid's hat, I'm finding 90 rows works really good. For adults, I would say 125 to 130. This one is slouchy, or you can have a pretty hefty brim on it. But it's fun. I think I'm getting pretty good at the Addi. I'm certainly figuring out what to watch for and, you know, how to kind of hold it for tension and whatnot. So we're good. I think I'm going to do one more week of trying hats and then maybe expand to other things. Who knows? But we have 2 more hats. So I had a oddball, where's the thing, of Super Saver Blacklight. So this is the Blacklight yarn. So I cranked out an adult size Blacklight hat, and this is fun. Brian took the kids to laser tag, and he wore it because it's, you know, blacklight reactive, and so he had fun with it already. It's been worn, but yeah, he liked it. This one is 125. There is one snag here where it got snagged, but that's okay. I mean, I can snag on my own knitting needles, so it's not an Addi issue. It's fun, it's pretty, I like it. Bingo likes it. But that left me, that took about 2/3 of the skein. So I was like, well, what do I do with the rest of it? And I thought I was going to try to just crank it and see if I could like Kitchener it together or something to make a headband. And then I believe it was Igor Knits said, well, can't you just tie on another color and keep going? I was like, well, of course you can. Genius. So I did this. So what this is I took the remaining skein, did that, and then I just tied on black, and I went to my 125. So that's that, and then I added the black, so the inside is completely black, so you could have it reversible. Oh no, I want to wear my black beanie today. Or, nuh-uh, I'm gonna party. I'm gonna party. And then you have the black brim. So there you go. So I have successfully joined yarns on the Addi and made something I think pretty fun. This gave me an idea to try something else. And I had to go to Joann. You're going to see in a minute why I had to go to Joann. But it gave me an idea of making reversible beanies. And they had such a great deal on the Big Twist Living. So I picked up a rainbow Big Twist Living with a coordinating red. And I'm going to try to make it like one side rainbow, one side red. So then you could flip up it and you could have like the rainbow with a red brim. Or you could wear it the other way and have a red hat with the rainbow brim, or you could just like wear it slouchy and have just one solid color hat. That's my plan. We'll see if I can execute it. We'll see. But those are my completed objects on the week. So we've got a couple of finished ball bands all ready for the new ball band box. Still have to finish this one. That hat used a little over half. I don't know if I should throw this on the Addi and see how much I get. Or I could just like crochet up a hat myself. I don't know. I'll use it. What do I have in the whips department? Well, I got quite a bit here. Let's start with this because it's on top. I'm continuing to work on my S'more Summer Fun sock set from Ginger Snap. And here's where it is now. So I'm continuing to just knit away at the tube until I get to the toe portion. And then once I get to the toe portion, I'll do the toe, and then I'll do the afterthought heel. And once I do the afterthought heel, I will have a completed pair of socks. So we're just, you know, trucking along, doing it. This is the project I do while I put the kids to bed. So it gets touched every day, but I mean, some nights it might get a row or two. Some nights it might get 10 rows. It just depends on the evening. And you know, sometimes I might drift away while putting the kids to sleep. So that happens on occasion. Their chairs are very comfy in their bedrooms. So working on that. What else do I have? Let's go crochet project. Okay. So for a crochet project, I've got this bag, which is what I'm working on for the, where are you? Here you are. For the Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight this month. This month we are featuring Sarah Zimmerman from Repeat Crafter Me, which I had an email and I totally missed this. If you're doing the Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight, just like with Mikey or Marley Bird, she has tutorials on her channel for yarn inspiration patterns that she may not have written herself. That is totally fair game. If she did the tutorial for the pattern on her channel, it is fair game. I'm not trying to trip anybody up by saying, oh, she did actually write that pattern. No, if you can make the project from materials she presents to you, it is fair game. Any tutorial on her channel counts. Anything, any pattern from any of her books counts. Anything on her blog counts. Totally counts. Stitch tutorials count. If you make a scarf based on a stitch tutorial that you saw from her, good to go. It all counts. I don't want to put barriers to entry in front of people, and I'm not trying to trick people, and I frankly don't have the time myself to go searching to make sure every last pattern was actually designed by the person. If they have an agreement with Yarn Inspirations to present that, that's good enough for me. Good enough for me. Okay, but what I'm working on is she had a beanie, and I'm now forgetting the name of the beanie. Was it a shell V-stitch beanie? Anyway, I'm making the beanie. So I finished the crown part, and I'm just adding the brim on it. I'm doing the brim different from the tutorial. She does the brim completely separately and then sews it on. I'm just crocheting the brim to the bottom of the hat. So that's where it is. And I am using Premier Sweet Roll, and this colorway is Mulberry. So Premier Sweet Roll, Mulberry. That's how much I have left. So kind of a la the Jada and Stitches project, I have 3 of those mulberry cakes. I'm going to make the hat, and the hat will be the prize, and I'll send along my extra yarn to the winner so they can make a set if they want. If they want to make a matching scarf, if they want to make more hats, you can do whatever you want with the extra yarn. Once it leaves my possession, it is for you to do with as you wish. So have fun with it. That's all I ask. Do something fun. Let's go knitting project. So you will recall I purchased this here pickle jar from Aberdeen Wools, and was like, I want to make the cowl, but when will it get made? Well, I got the New Year's itch to cast something on. So I started the cowl. It's just 1 mini in. My plan here is to try to get 1 mini a week added. There are 40 minis in the jar, so it'll take me the better part of a year to do this if I do it slowly. But what I need in this room here, because this room is where I do my video editing and all of that stuff, so I need kind of a simple, mindless project that I can just work on while I'm editing or something like that. And this is perfect because it's just stockinette. It's just knit stitch in the round, and then I am not going to plan it out. I am going to turn around and let the pickle jar be my guide. I'm just going to grab the next one and add it on. So we're going to see what kind of fun pickle jar cowl I get at the end. So this yarn was dyed by, it's all hand-dyed minis from Tangled Poets. And you can get the pickle jar from Aberdeen Wools. It's $50 for the jar. The jar comes with all the minis, the jar, 2 patterns. I didn't realize there was 2 patterns. There's a cowl and a scarf shawl on the bias. They're both knit. It comes with the knitting needles to do the projects, and I've forgotten everything I've listed already because I got distracted with the patterns. You get the yarn, the jar, the patterns, the needles, and a little ball band to tell you care instructions. So like I said, they're all hand-dyed minis. They're about, on the website it says they're 20 to 23 yard minis in fingering weight. They're fingering weight. But yeah, I'm going to start doing that. So you'll hopefully see a section added a week. That's the goal. Now why I had to go to Joann. I want 2024 to be my year of amigurumi. Speaking of Sarah Zimmerman at Repeat Crafter Me. If you have this book, which is a very popular amigurumi book for all sorts, but I was specifically recommended it as a beginner, Crochet Cute Critters, she wrote this book. Anything you make from this book would count. Would totally count. For the Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight. This I'm not making for the Spotlight. I am, as part of the year of amigurumi, going to practice by making the critters in this book that I have not already created. I have made 4, maybe 5 things out of this book already. So I just picked it up and said, okay, we're starting at the beginning. So I am currently working on Alex the Alligator. Now you'll see he's two-toned green. I went into the stash and I pulled out, so this green will come into play later. Not this green. I pulled out, I had 3 balls of this green. I assumed it was going to be enough to make the alligator. I am not yet done with the body, and that is the last of the little balls of green I have. So, yikes. So I went looking through the stash, and I found, I didn't have any more of this green, but I found this partial ball of green, and I was like, oh, yeah, Brian and I were talking, I was like, well, should I just, start using this other green? We'll just have a crazy two-toned alligator. And he did not like that idea. He didn't think it would be aesthetically pleasing. So that's what sent me to Joann's. I got another ball of said green, which is forest green. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Got a text message from Michaels. If you don't know, Michaels has a new Karen cake on their site, on the app, coconut cakes. I just got a confirmation that my order has shipped. Spoiler alert! Hopefully you'll be seeing that soon. So anyway, I'm making that alligator. This has to go back into my stash because I'm not going to use it because I have the new green. I had just this little bit of white left. I'll use that for the white eyes. And I had this green left, so this is going to be the belly tone on it. And there we go. But now, since I have the new green, I can get more work on this done. I was kind of hoping to maybe do an amigurumi a week, but I'm already behind. This is all the fiber fill I have left in my possession, so I think I'm going to have to go invest in fiber fill this year if this is the adventure I'm having. Did I put the pattern book in there? I did. Okay, good. Okay, so you need to go off the side so I can put you away. Okay, let's go for another knitting project. As I said with the cowl, when I'm in here, I have kind of an easy project going on. Before I decided to start that cowl, I had been working on a pair of socks. You might recognize this yarn. This is the Hobby Halloween sock yarn, glitter sock yarn. This was actually the yarn I used for my very first pair of socks, but I only used half the skein. It's called like Vampire's Kiss or something. So this sock bag was just thrown. Do you guys do this? Do you say, okay, this is something I want to work on, so I throw it in a project bag and I have a pile next to me. When I come to a point where what had happened was I had been working on Mary Maxim yarn reviews in the background, but not able to film them because my table became a mess. It's a saga. The table's almost clean. We're going to get back to the Mary Maxim reviews. Anyway, I have finished 2 yarns, and I didn't want to keep going because I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself and necessarily forget my experience in using it. So I grabbed a sock bag off the pile. This is the yarn that was in it, so I'm just doing a vanilla shorty sock. And I'm right now working on the heel flap. I'm doing a heel flap turn gusset on this one and not the afterthought heel. Mostly because I am not yet familiar enough with the afterthought heel to do it on the fly. But I've done 4. I did the 2 fruit socks for the kids. I did a brown pair and I did this pair. Yeah, I think I've done 4 pairs of socks like this before, so I'm pretty confident that I can wing it. If not, it's just for me. It'll be fine. So yeah, I got that going, and then my final whip that I have in the works is my Berber Afghan. This is the Berber Afghan. It's a Mary Maxim kit I bought. I will be donating this to Bod's auction. It was designed by Get Your Hook On, and it's your Y-E-R right there. Get Your Hook On. Get Your Hook On. It was inspired by her trip to Morocco, and my goal, so I'm doing this as part of Lori from Armchair Chef's Mystery Yarn Challenge for January 2024. She's added new options where you can work on whips. So I chose to do that. I got the buy this week because we had an uneven number of people. So I didn't have anybody to send yarn to. But, so there you have categories where you can just participate and just work on a whip. You can work on a whip and say, I'm doing a whip. I'm willing to send yarn to somebody, but please don't send me any yarn. I'm doing a whip, please. So that was the category I choose. Or you could do her classic, I want to play. I'm going to send yarn to somebody, and somebody's going to send yarn to me. And then you work up projects with that yarn, which I would love to do. I would love to do. But I feel as though I'm drowning in stash and whips. So, by doing the option of sending and making and working on my whips, I get to work on the pile, and I get to send out some of my stash to somebody else who can make something with it. So that's the goal. I actually have tons and tons of like partial, like really full partial balls that is kind of overflowing. So I'm really looking forward to trying to put together some palettes for people. So anyway, there's also an option where you can say, I can't send yarn, but could somebody please send me yarn? That is an option as well. But check out Lori's channel. You can get all the details. But anyway, I said I was going to work on this project because this is the first whip I want to get off of Whip Island. Because it's really the only one that has a due date. My goal was to do, there are 23 patterns motifs in the blanket. At the beginning of the challenge, I was working on motif 9. I finished motif 11, and so I'm all set to start the first row of motif 12 right now. My goal was to do 4 motifs last week, and I only got 3 done. But one of them was kind of a bigger motif. And I've actually looked ahead, and there is one gigantic one coming up. But we'll get to it when we get to it. Hey, bud.
Have you correct piece for this? Well, you did this instead.
Oh.
But still goes in.
Nice. Good job, buddy.
If there's something wrong, I can just take this out.
Absolutely. Or if you find the right piece, you can figure it out. Yeah.
And
that's really good.
I can just slide it off.
Oh, perfect. You are very clever, buddy. Good job.
And plus, it's the same as this piece.
Yeah, it is. Perfect.
I can't believe I figured out a piece that I can replace.
Nice. I like it, bud.
And I still don't know what it is.
Well, that's okay. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, bud. I have faith in you. Chomps is working on a Pokemon Lego set, but it's not the Lego brand, it's like Mega or something like that. They do all the Pokemon sets. So I was going to show you the blanket. So there's, if you start from the bottom, that's motif 1. Am I in camera? I can't tell. Okay, so I think I'm in camera. So that's motif 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you work up like this. And so there you go. There is the motif. So this was 10, this was 11, and I'm just about to start on 12. So if you're curious, this section here is what I worked on this week. Kind of this kind of solid line, this bigger one, and then this. So there you go. I believe there is still hope I can finish this in time for the Mystery Yarn Challenge. If I don't, I mean, I don't want to sound flippant, but this is it's a large project, and if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. I will do my darndest to do it, though, because I love a challenge. I love a challenge. So, there we go. Oh, I don't want to show all the charts or anything, although I paid for it, but I don't know if you can get this pattern for free anywhere else or not. You might. I mean, some of Mary Maxim's patterns are like that. Sorry, I'm looking for a place to put it so I can do the rest of my stuff. There we go. Okay, so this is too thick for what I thought it was. What's going on here? Oh, ha 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 ha. Okay, there's another patterns everywhere. There's patterns galore. Patterns. Okay, so that's the end of the yarny content for today. Those are my projects. That's what I'm working on. And yeah, expect to see more hats next week off of the Addi as I continue to practice that. And I hope to get more things here continued. So what else do I have to talk about today? So I said I had something fun and kind of an idea that maybe if you want a reading challenge, or if you want to do more reading this year, if that's one of your goals, my library sent out this 2024 Ultimate Reading Challenge for adults. So it's just a paper and it's a list, and they're asking you to complete 12 books, to read 12 books from the 16 categories below. And then you might win a prize, who knows? But it's things like books by a debut author, a memoir or biography, a book set in the Midwest, a book of poetry, sci-fi or fantasy, adaptation of a literary classic, a novel written by a BIPOC author, a book from the Hot Picks collection, which is a collection they have at the library, read a banned or challenged book, historical fiction set in a period you don't know much about, young adult novel, nonfiction book on the New York Times bestseller list, mystery or thriller, audiobook published in the last 2 years. So they're including audiobooks, dealer's choice, any book you want to read, or a novel set in a library or bookstore. So fun! So I figured I printed it up and might give it a go. So you might want to check, see if your library is doing something similar. They also are having 4 meetups. So if you want to go and meet up with other people reading books, you can go meet with them. So what book am I reading? I'm still reading Hester by Lori Lico Albanese. I am a little over halfway done. I'll be honest, I got a little extra crafty and a little less ready this week, but I still read a good chunk. What? I actually stopped mid-chapter. I never stop mid-chapter. Well, I guess that's not true. I stopped with a page and a half to go. Weirdo. Like suddenly, whenever I start talking here, my nose just starts to run. Like I have nasal drainage. Not cool. But anyway, what is this book? This book is So it is related to Hester Prynne, and it is related to Scarlet Letter. The Nathaniel Hawthorne is a character in the book, but Hester Prynne is not. It's more about the woman who inspired Hester Prynne, how he got his story for Hester Prynne. So it's more about her and her life, and she has synesthesia, which is it's with synesthesia or joined perception, and you experience, here it says, multiple sensory responses when only one sense has been stimulated. So in this book, she can words appear in colors to her. Billie Eilish says she can see music when she hears it. It's things like that. It's where you can, see. Some people say they can taste things when they hear things. So it's basically having multiple senses firing at the same time. Which, of course, she's in Salem I think she's in the 1800s. No, wait. So there's dates in here, but they're telling... There's 3 different stories going on in this story. So there's the main story of the inspiration of Hester Prynne, and then it also tells the story of one of her ancestors who was accused of witchcraft, and then it also talks about the Salem witch trials all here. So you'll see different italicized sections which are telling stories from the past. So there are the Salem witch trials from 1692. Her ancestor's story is Scotland in the 1660s. But I mean, she must be in the 1800s, right? I assume so. Anyway, it's set in Salem. The exact time doesn't matter. It's definitely way in the way backs. Historical fiction with that 1 foot in Scarlet Letter and that kind of thing, with the addition of whispers of witchcraft and, kind of touching on how psychological, I don't know if you would call that necessarily a physiological response as well, but I would say probably psychological conditions were treated and, demonized much more then, less understood then, but still not always treated not necessarily treated well these days either. But if you have interest in that kind of book with different themes like that, this might be something good for you. The text is very nice and big, which is a relief after reading Name of the Wind with the tiny print. There is slavery is a topic in the book. I'm thinking, so like I said, I'm a little over halfway done. I believe my spidey sense is telling me that's going to become more prominent in the end, because there's a lot of talk here with freed black people, and right now I'm starting to see whispers of a runaway slave catcher showing up in town. So I'm thinking that's going to become more prominent as the book continues. I guess if those are kind of trigger warnings, I'm not sure right now I can think of any other triggers that I'm seeing, but I know different people have different reactions to different topics. I find now that I can't read books that have anything bad happening to kids. Ever since becoming a mom, I can't do that. I had to DNF, did not finish a book I started last year because I figured out what the main event was going to be, and it was not one I was interested in reading about at all. Even though the book, it was Homecoming by Kate Morton. The book was on like every best of 2023 list I came across. I couldn't read it. But yeah, so I am enjoying it. I think it's interesting. I think it's going to check off a category on my reading challenge, and then we'll see what I read next. Okay, what are you reading? What are you doing? I'm interested. I love all of the book suggestions. I write them all down. I do use Goodreads, but I don't know how to share out links or whatever. So if you have Goodreads and you want to be friends, email me your link and I'll click it. I don't know how it works. I actually only got Goodreads last year because of Ray from Ray's Yarn Addiction was like, you don't use Goodreads! So I got it. I have put in a 50 book challenge for myself for 2024, but who knows if I'll hit it. Probably not, because that's a book a week and we're a week in and I'm not I'm not done with that book, so we'll see. What do I have coming up for the channel? Hopefully that Michael's order comes pretty quick and I can open that. Otherwise, I've not yet shared what I got crafty for the holidays, so I'll share that. I have a bunch of patterns and books that I have collected that I need to share. And I do have a couple of orders that have come in. Oh, and at Joann's when I picked up that green yarn, I was influenced by one Rose Likes Crochet. She clued me in that there's a new Caron Jumbo Twirl. So, spoiler alert, I got 2 of those. I wanted 3, but they told me the 3rd one wasn't available. Because you could do the pickup and get an additional 20% off. So that's what I did. But yeah, so I'll show that at another time. But Rose, it is beautiful. Thank you. I don't mind being influenced. Also, I have been influenced to start a spreadsheet. So I do have a spreadsheet to track my yarn usage. I am, however, still going to collect the labels because it was very fun to me to look through the labels and have that little trip down memory lane. But I will also have a spreadsheet, so as I complete a project, I put it on my spreadsheet, and then I will be able to track yardage because I am not at the end of the year going to add up all of that yardage. But then that also allows me to like take credit yardage wise for this half used skein, where last year I would not have counted this label until I finished this whole thing. Like I used this in my Creative Grandma Christmas blanket I made, but this I didn't use the whole thing, so this yarn wasn't accounted for at all in my calculations last year. But yeah, so there we go. We're gonna keep on keeping on, and I'll see you tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'll do the crafty holiday haul. That sounds fun to me. Okay, bye!